Hey y'all, Assalamu alaikum. It's your brother AbdelRahman Murphy here with another video on behalf of Qalam Institute. So we've covered two awesome videos so far on answering the question, how do I get married? The first is self-evaluation. Who am I? What are some things that I like? What are some things that I need to work on? And who really do I need to look for? Because you can only know the person that you want to look for once you know who you are yourself, because that's going to make it a lot easier, and the compatibility test and search will become a lot more simple once you know the first part of that equation, which is you. The second is, how do I now engage my parents in this conversation? Parents are a huge blessing, and they are a massive, massive help when it comes to this process of getting married and the institution of marriage. And so how do I now engage them in the conversation and bring them along with me on the journey of finding a spouse, inshallah ta'ala? How do I do it in a way that doesn't have a lot of friction, doesn't have a lot of tension, and is really smooth? And how do I integrate their expectations into my expectations? If you haven't watched those two videos, you need to watch those two videos. It's la yajuz. It's not okay for you to watch this third video unless you watch those two. So go back, inshallah. Now, the third video, this is a very important question, is how do I meet somebody, right? And this is a huge question in the Muslim community because, let's face it, our religion is protecting us from certain harms, right? Our religion is protecting our mind, body, and soul from poison, from harmful environments, etc. And traditionally, normatively, in this country, people meet each other through harmful ways sometimes. And so, as part of being adherents to the Islamic faith, we try to make sure that we're doing things the right way. And yes, that could present some unique challenges in finding somebody. However, many Muslims are still getting married, so it can be done. My advices go like this. Number one, be balanced in your approach on finding somebody, right? Don't automatically discount people that you already know just because you already know them. However, don't also be that creepy person who's constantly proposing to people who you know, right? There's two kinds of people, right? There's those two kinds of people. The one who's like, I have to marry somebody who I don't know already. And there's the person who's literally proposing to like people that they meet all the time. And that's just like two very opposite extremes. Be balanced. وَكَذَلِكَ جَعَلْنَاكُمْ أُمَّةً وَسَطًا. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, and like this, we've made you a balanced nation, right? We're balanced people. So in our life, in our emotions, in our religion, we're moderate people. So if you know somebody that could be a candidate, don't shy away from asking them simply because you already know them. However, if you feel like you really don't know anybody that could fit what you're looking for, that's okay. Don't be against looking for somebody else whom you may not know yet. However, don't have this preconceived, predisposed idea going into that equation, because you're just going to block people off and it's just not going to go well. And people, subhanAllah, have been searching for years and years and years. And my recommendation to them is try to look at the gems that are already around you that you might be blinded to. Because those people, oftentimes, you already know their compatibility, you know their character, you know their family, and a lot of that work is already done. So the next point, so that's for point number one, is be balanced. The next point, the next advice that I would offer to you, brother or sister, inshallah, who's trying to get married, is if you have a certain set of values that you really want this person to have, okay? So let's say that you are someone who loves to take Islamic classes, you love to gain Islamic knowledge. Let's say you are somebody who loves charity, you love working with relief organizations. Let's say you're somebody who loves working with kids, you love children, and you work at your Sunday school. Let's say you're somebody who just loves serving the community and you set up your community's Eid carnival every year or twice a year, etc. Increase your chances of meeting somebody by participating in these things that you find near and dear to your heart. Because you know what? If someone else also finds these things near and dear to their heart, then that's going to be a huge bonus for your compatibility test, inshallah. That you might be able to meet someone who finds these things the same way that you find these things beneficial and enjoyable. If they find it beneficial and enjoyable, boom, then you found someone who has a major puzzle piece of the compatibility already filled in. My general advice of point number two is to increase your chances of meeting somebody by increasing your paths of intersection with people. Don't be a hermit and sit inside and expect somebody to show up at your door and expect somebody to come and meet you and expect somebody to sort of find you online or whatever. Go out there and try to meet somebody, because honestly speaking, that's the best way to get a really true gauge of someone's character, is by working with them in person. And we have precedents from this, by the way, in the Sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, because we don't advise things religiously without precedents, right? We are people of Quran, we are people of Sunnah, we are people of ijma and ilm and knowledge. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, how did he meet his first wife? He worked for her. Khadija radiallahu anha, our mother, she employed the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. And after she through that path of intersection, after she got to know his character, his personality, his integrity, his ethics, his morals, then she sent her servant Maysara to go and ask him, would you be interested in marrying Khadija, right? So again, looking at somebody, checking that path of intersection, and then proposing is not abnormal. In fact, it's wonderful and it's a great way to meet somebody. So number one, be balanced. Number two, increase your path of intersection. And number three is to trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This process can be very draining emotionally, physically, and even spiritually. But you need to trust in the fact that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has your person written for you. It is nasib, it is already there, and you need to, inshallah, take the steps to reach there. Tie your camel, trust in Allah. Don't abandon either one. Don't tie your camel and then not trust in Allah, and don't forget to tie your camel before trusting in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the famous statement. Do your work and then realize that Allah has your back. Neither of those things should be missing from the equation in finding a spouse, inshallah ta'ala. And when you're meant to find a spouse, you will realize, when you find that spouse, inshallah, you will realize why you found that spouse at that time in your life, not earlier, not later. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us tawfiq. Jazakumullah khairan. In the next video, we're going to talk about what do we look for in a spouse. So this one's going to be exciting and fun. Jazakumullah khairan. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.